Hey, what's up YouTube? In this video, I'll be showing you how to make Steve riding a horse in Minecraft. If you do enjoy these sorts of tutorials, please do consider subscribing to the channel and clicking the little bell next to the subscription button. That really helps me out, and of course, you'll get to see all of the other cool things that I'll be making on the channel in the future. Without any further ado, let's get started. So, just before we begin building, ladies and gentlemen, here are all of the materials that we will be using to make our Steve riding a horse statue. Please do make sure that you have access to all of those and enough of those materials as well. Plus, it's also mentioning that you can change the color of the horse to any color that you like. It just so happens that this one is black, but you could make it any color that you wanted to. The amount of space required to make the statue is about a 10 by 21 block area on the ground. Do feel free to make this in your world if you want to better plan out this build. And that's it. Pause the video if you have to make sure that you have all of that stuff. Make sure that you have enough room to make it. Make sure that you're ready to make this awesome statue. And once you are, we can begin. Step 1, fancy statue building friends. Come all the way to the front left-hand corner of your grid. That is, of course, if you've made it. You don't have to make it as it's not required, but we're going to be starting here anyway. On top of this block, I want you to place a grey concrete. Go right of it by 3. 1, 2, 3. Leave a gap of 2 going right, and then place 4 grey concrete. 1, 2, 3, 4. Like this. I want you to take the ends of these 2 rows of grey concrete and extend them backwards each by 3. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3. Join them together at the back to create 2 squares. We have to make another pair of these squares, which just so happens to rhyme. These pair of squares shall be 13 blocks backwards in relation to these ones. So you want to leave a gap of 13 and then make another pair. So if you come to the back corner of this one and you leave a gap of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and then on this 14th block place a grey concrete, right by 3, leave a gap of 2 going right, and then place 4 grey concretes. We're then going to extend the ends of these backwards by 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to join them all together. And what we will have is the little base of the horse's feet. We now have to do the exact same thing to each one of the horse's legs, and it goes like this. You want to place, on top of all of the layers of grey concrete, 2 rows of black concrete. 1, 2. To which you then want to place 4 rows of white concrete. 1, 2, 3, 4. To which you then want to place 4 rows of black wool. 1, 2, 3, 4. Like this. However, of course, you don't just want to place one random row of it just on top of one of the legs. It wants to expand and go all the way around on top of the legs. So I'll do one of them, and then we can do all of the other 3 rather quickly, if you know what I'm saying. But that is the basic pattern. Once you've done it once, it will really be easy to simply transfer it onto all of the other legs. This is the part of the tutorial where I kind of wish that Minecraft had like a copy and paste sort of selection. I guess that you can on PC, but unfortunately we're building over here on console, so we don't really have a choice. However, the legs will look exactly like this. Nice and even, you want to have exactly that. However, of course, we want to have that 3 more times. So why don't we do that? Once you've done the legs, they'll look like this. Kind of reminds me of licorice. So once you have successfully given your horse 4 legs, very generous of you, we can now make the body. So the body's quite easy. We're going to begin by placing one black wool on top of any of the corners of the legs. It all starts from here. You want to extend that black wool across, back, and around anywhere that black wool will intersect with the other 4 legs. We are making a rectangle, like that. So that's the bottom of the body. We want to raise up the corners of the body by 9 blocks using black wool. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I'd recommend, if you're quite confident that that row is 9, to extend across and down to each 4 corners of the body. The alternative is, of course, to literally extend up every single corner by 9, making sure that that's correct, and then connecting them together. I would prefer not to count to 9 all those many times, so I'll leave it up to you to how you want to achieve this. So this is the horse's body, and it's lacking a few key details. The first of which is it is a rather large, big empty, black rectangle. We must fill it in with our black wool. So that would look, for instance, like this. So once you have successfully filled in the horse's body with the black wool or whatever kind of material you're looking to use, we can now move on to the next part. So now that the horse has legs, it's got a body, we should probably give it a tail. That means that you have to pick a front and a back. Right now it's literally the same, like either way you can point the horse, your loyal steed, either direction. This is going to be the back of my horse, so I'm going to come all the way over here and I'm going to, on the back of the horse, find the middle 2 blocks. Now this is quite easy because it is the separation between the legs is where the middle of the horse is. So locate the middle 2 blocks, come up to the top, and you want to be 1 row away from the top of the middle of the horse. You want to first of all place 2 black concrete 1 row down from the middle of the top of the horse, and then you want to extend those black concretes all the way down, probably until about where the white concrete is, maybe just leave it 1 row short like that. You want to double up on that row, and you want to extend this row outwards by about 2 rows or so. You want to do like 1, 2. So you want to place 2 rows of black concrete coming outwards. The tail is rather thick and luscious, so we're going to make it 3D. It's not just going to be like flat and slapped to the back of the horse. So we also want to extend out the sides a little bit, so feel free to extend out the sides of the tail on the left and right, and make sure to leave a block alone, 1 row away from the top and 1 row away from the bottom. The middle of the tail at the bottom as well, you want to extend it down, probably about 1 row, maybe even 2. Like the tail kind of swishes and swashes around, so this is actually like a pretty decent horse tail. Feel free to position it differently and feel free to use a different colour. The horses are very moldable, you can make it any colour that you like. So we're now going to come towards the front of the horse, as the horse is lacking a head. We want to come all the way up to the top front left hand corner of the body, which is here, and you want to move across by 2 blocks. 1, 2. Mark this out by placing a black wool, and place 5 going right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like this. I want you to take this row of black wool and extend it 3 rows forwards, 1, 2, 3, and additionally 4 rows backwards, 1, 2, 3, 4. So we've kind of created a T shape here, but this is the horse's neck. Horses, I'm not sure whether you've seen them before, have very thick, strong necks, and that's exactly what we're going to be portraying here. The horse's neck also wants to connect downwards a bit. So the way that we're going to do this is the portion that's hanging off the front, we're going to add another row of black concrete underneath the part that's hanging off the front like this. And then we're going to add rows and rows of black wool that slowly taper down like this to connect to the top of the body. The horse's necks are positioned very weirdly, so we've kind of got it gradually graduating down into the top of the body rather than a steep drop, kind of like a cliff. What we also want to do is we want to take the outer perimeter of the neck shape and we want to raise it up by about 12 blocks or so. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I'm going to recommend that you just extend up every single corner and make an outline, so to speak, in regards to the horse's neck. So very much how we did the body, extend up the corners or extend up and around and down, however you want to apply the method. You want to have something which should look like this. So that's looking pretty good. You can see that we've got the neck all involved there. That's not looking too bad, is it, ladies and gentlemen? I think it's pretty decent. So the next thing that we're going to do is we want to take the back corner of the side of the head, or the side of the neck here, and we want to make the face. So I want you to take this corner, move 1 block forwards, place a black wool, and then I want you to place a brown concrete in front of it, go down by 1, place a grey concrete underneath, place 2 brown coming down, 1, 2, take the grey concrete and extend forwards by 5 using brown, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, just like this. So we also want to apply this to the other side, and it's quite important. So we take this corner at the back, forwards by 1, brown wool, brown concrete in front, down 1, grey concrete underneath, place 2 brown concretes coming down, and extend the grey concrete forwards by 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So what we're going to do, on the long stretch of brown concrete, I want you to place this series of blocks. Basically, 1 black wool, 1 white concrete, 1 black concrete. And you want to do this on both sides. So black wool, white, black concrete. This is important because we are now going to use black wool, and we are going to begin by placing black wool on the outer part of the brown and grey concrete row. We're going to fill in the gaps underneath and above the brown concrete areas where the reins are, and we want to do the same on the opposite side. So you'll fill in this side closest towards the back of the neck, and you will fill in underneath and above the reins, keeping in line with the lines that we have placed using the brown concrete. We have to create the horse's mouth. This is quite easy. You want to place a brown concrete inwards in front of the brown walls that we already have on the front of the head. We then want to place grey concretes in front, light grey concretes in front of those. You then want to place black wool in front of those. You can join that together. On top of the grey concretes, you can place 2 additional brown concretes. This is the dark grey. 1, 2, 1, 2. And underneath those as well, you can place 1, 2, 1, 2. And you also want to, underneath the light grey concretes, you just want to place a grey concrete, a dark grey. So that seems really messy, doesn't it? But in actuality, we've actually completed the horse's mouth, because all we have to do is fill in between the lines using brown wool. So you simply just want to connect the base of the head together at the base of the mouth. You just want to connect it all together at the front like this. You know how high it is because of the brown concrete that we have. And by the way, you're going to want to extend the brown concrete across the top of the mouth like this. Add an extra brown wool there. And you're going to have to place a little bit of black there. And you're just going to have to take note of where you might have any gaps. So this is going to be above and underneath. Yep, definitely got a load underneath as well. well. You want to fill all of it in. Oh, and also, of course, the brown concrete wants to connect underneath too because of the rains. Just how rains work, like that. So what we will also do is we will just fill in the neck, and I'll actually hang in here for this one because it's not so bad. And the horse, or at least the head of the horse, is only missing a couple of more key features. So there's two things that we have to do in regards to the actual horse. The body of the horse. The horse and nothing else but the horse. The horse needs a mane, which is going to come out of the back. I don't know if there's a more technical term or whether that one's correct. The mane of the horse, the bit of hair that comes out of the back of the neck, which is again variable. You don't have to use the same colour wool that we've been using all along. You can indeed use any colour that you like, especially if you've been using a white horse, for instance. If you've been building a white horse, you could use any various amounts of grey or maybe even black. Like, the horses come in so many different colours, you can make up whatever you like. We're going to fill in the top of the head as well. I think it'd make sense if we extended the brown concrete, I should say, along the top of the black wool head like this. If you join it all together so that it looks as though that Mr. Horse is all strapped in, like so. The horse has ears. So the ears are on the row behind the brown concrete, and they're quite easy. You place 1, 2 coming inwards, 1, 2 from both sides. You can, if you want, give the horse slightly bigger ears, but those are quite proportional, I think. The horse's mane, I'm using black concrete for this, so a contrast colour against black, it's kind of hard to find, but black concrete sticks out against black wool. The mane is going to be pretty much, I think I'm only going to make it about 2 blocks, the middle 2 blocks. You could make it the middle 4. I may make it the middle 4. And basically, it's just a single row of black concrete coming all the way up in front of the 4 middle rows of the back of the neck, all the way up to the top, or maybe a couple rows short. You could even give your horse a Mohican if you wanted to. A Mohican, of course, being like you could extend these blocks forwards. Completely depends. Like, you can style your horse in a variety of ways, as I've said. Like, you don't have to just do exactly what I've done. But anyway, once you have completed that, you've made a huge, significant part of this build. The horse. It's not looking too bad, is he? All he's missing is a Steve. So, how do we make Steve, you might be wondering to yourselves. And I want to say at this point, before we make Steve, if you want to put yourself on the horse, like if I wanted to put my skin on there, the lovely koala with the golden builder's hat, then you could, easily. Like, once you've figured out the shape that we're going to be using for this, feel free to mold it to your own Minecraft skin, if you like. So, the way that we're going to measure out as to where to put Steve is we're going to come to the back top left-hand corner of the horse's body. This corner block, we want to count forwards by 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. On the side here, I want you to place a black terracotta. Move forwards and place 4 blue concrete. 1, 2, 3, 4. Move forwards and place 4 black terracotta. 1, 2, 3, 4. That is perfect. What we are going to do is extend up the black terracotta on the front and the back. You want to place brown concrete on the remaining 3 black terracottas. You want to extend the black terracotta at the front and the back across the side of the build until they are placed in an equal position on both sides. We are going to place 3 brown concrete, 1, 2, 3, coming backwards from the front. And we're going to place, of course, black terracotta underneath all of this. And 1, 2, 3, 4 blue concretes moving backwards, with a black terracotta just placed underneath there. So that's what we sort of want to have. That's the sort of the shape of the saddle that we're working with at the moment. If you like, you can connect the brown concretes together at the front. So the rows of 3 brown concrete, you can connect those together as you like. We also have to make footholds and legs. So we'll start off with probably the legs, I would say. We're going to extend the blue concrete downwards by about 6 rows. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And underneath, we'll be placing 2 rows of grey concrete. So that wants to be every single one of those blocks. So not only do you want to extend downwards all of the blue concretes, but you also want to place 2 rows of grey concrete underneath. Steve is a bad boy. He doesn't use the footholds. The footholds begin at the first row of grey concrete, just below the blue, and we want to place 1, 2, 3 grey concretes moving forwards, 1, 2, come back by 2, and down. So we want to create a circle of sorts. You want to take the middle of the circle and place 2 brown concrete on top and 2 black terracotta on top. So that's the sort of shape that we're working with. You want to do the same on the opposite side, of course. So on the opposite side we have 6 rows of blue, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 2 rows of dark grey, 1, 2. And they want to cover the entire leg. So all of the blue, all of the grey want to span the width of the leg, just like this. And we take the top of the foot on this side, and we want to place 3 light grey, 1, 2, 3, up by 2, right by 2, down. And you want to take the top middle and place 2 brown concrete, 2 black terracotta connecting upwards such as this. And that is Steve's legs pretty much almost complete, or at least the difficult parts of this. This actually gets quite a bit easier. So I want you to grab the blue concrete, and we're going to do this. Extend the 2 rows of blue concrete upwards to match the height of the saddle on both sides. I want you to then extend inwards the blue concrete 1 row on both sides, upwards a row on both sides, inwards a row on both sides, and then finally upwards a row on both sides. Like that. You then want to join it together in the middle. You don't have to connect the actual physical middle part together though, you only have to do the front and the back. The torso will pretty much cover up the rest of the area. You want to place on top of the front left hand corner 12 rows of cyan, so 12 blocks of cyan really, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. You want to go to the right and you want to place a cyan concrete. We then have to grab, and I don't think we're going to be using black wool anymore, I don't think, so we're going to grab white terracotta. And you want to place 4 white terracotta going right, place 2 cyan concrete going right, and join it down to the ground. You can take the 2 corners of the top of the body and extend them backwards and down to connect to the lower part of the statue, where we have the back of the legs, the back of the hips, however you want to say it. Like this. You want to take the 2 middle white terracottas up the top here and you want to extend them each down, like that. We're going to do the head because that is, I guess, the next easiest part really. You want to place a row of white terracotta on top of the front of the body, and you want to extend it forwards a row. Starting from the left, going right, you want to place 2 white terracotta, 4 brown concrete, 2 white. You then want to place another row of white terracotta on top of the white terracottas. Extend the left and right brown concretes upwards with white terracotta in between. The next row is quite simple. You want to place brown concrete on top of the 2 middle blocks with white terracotta everywhere else on the row. You then want to place white terracotta on top of the brown concrete, and then also on the left and right hand side of the row. You want to place white concretes on the outside with blue concretes in the middle to form Steve's eyes. Place an entire row of white terracotta on top of this. Place a brown concrete on the left and right sides of the next row with white terracotta all in between. Place 2 rows of brown concrete directly on top of the head like this, coming up from the top of the head. You then want to extend I'll say the base of the head first, backwards. Make sure first of all that it just sits on the back of the body, so up at the top. Add an extra row coming out, And then you want to place 2 brown concretes, or shall we make the entire... Yeah, 2 brown concretes in the back of the head with white terracotta everywhere else. To which we're then going to place rows of brown concrete coming upwards from the back of the head like this. And they're actually going to come upwards, and they will eventually, once you've got the right height, connect to the top of the head on the front like this. Here, here, and here. So that will just leave the side of the head. The sides of the head are actually very, very simple, and I'll show you why. So on the sides of the head, all we've got to do is place a white terracotta in the front corner of the head, above and backwards, like that. And that's pretty much all the shape you need to the sides of the head. So corner, back, up. So what we kind of have right now, I would describe it as like a Steve Creeper, perhaps a streeper. I hope that isn't a bad word. We have a streeper right now. That is him. We need to give him arms. So the way that we're going to give him arms is we're going to take out our cyan concrete, and we want to take the top 2 corners of the body, and we want to place 4 rows of cyan concrete coming outwards from the top of the body. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Extend back and join to the top of the body at the back. We want to extend the sleeve, which is the cyan concrete, downwards by 4 rows. 1, 2, 3, 4. And you can join it back to the body, like you can create what I would call like a solid rectangular-ish sort of shape like this. Perfect. Underneath this, you want to create a similar shape using white terracotta. You want to place 4 rows of white terracotta, 1, 2, 3, 4, coming downwards. And you can just turn this into a shape as well. The end goal of this is to fill the complete arm in, but I kind of want to show you how you make it, like the outside works of it. We're going to extend the arm forwards by about 4 rows, so that's the corners, 1, 2, 3, 4, and we're going to extend every single corner as well. So that's about how far the arm is going to be sticking out. We're going to have the 4 corners extended forwards, and it will just look like 2 little cubes, pretty much, just poking out of the front of the arm. The only thing that's missing is the fact that we've got to connect the arm to the reins. Now, I find it easier to work like backwards from this. What I mean by that is if you come to the front of your horse and you extend this brown concrete here that's just underneath the grey, and you place a brown concrete, one coming downwards, backwards diagonally, place a row of brown concrete underneath the head, joining together to connect to the reins that's attached to the head, and then extend outwards and then back. And you'll find that it kind of reaches Steve's hand in kind of like a good position. We want to do the same on the other side, right? So, and by the way, like if you wanted to, you can position this statue differently. So Steve's other arm could have a sword in it, it could be holding it high, he could be wearing a helmet, like there's a bajillion things you can do, but I'll leave that up to your customizations, hence why I'm just going to make this basic Steve, and then if you like, you can make him crazy if you want, right? So, the next thing that we're going to be doing here is, of course, the opposite side. So we're going to start off by placing 4 rows of cyan concrete coming out from these 2 corners. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Join them together. Extend the corners down, also by 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Like this. Extend and connect them all together. Turn them into shapes like this. We now want to have 4 rows of white terracotta coming down. 1, 2, 3, 4, like this. And we're going to extend across and connect to the body, like so. That's perfect. We want to take the corners of the front of the arm, so this box of white terracotta. We're going to extend these forwards by about 4 rows. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we want to turn this into a box as well. So this is the most basic, really, that you can make Steve. And the horse. I'll give you a couple of suggestions on what you can do afterwards. So now that we have the arm complete, right? We're going to work backwards, and we're going to place a brown concrete right where the horse holds the reins in its mouth. Here. We're going to come down diagonally by 2. Extend back. When it joins the other brown concrete, we extend out. And then back to the arms. So you can now see what we have here. We pretty much have Steve in quite a wonderful position. Like, this is a good statue. Like, you don't have to make it any more detailed than this. We have Steve riding a horse in all of his glory. So all you have to do from this point, and I'm sure that I don't have to explain this, you fill the white terracotta parts in with white terracotta, you extend the cyan concrete parts in with cyan concrete, and you fill the brown concrete parts in with brown concrete. And that's all you do for the body, and that's all there is to do. So why don't I do that, and I can show you what this statue looks like once it's been 100% fully completed. And there we go, ladies and gentlemen. This is what your statue will look like once it's been 100% fully completed. We have a majestic steed being ridden by Steve on a saddle. He's just sat there holding the reins. We can alter it if we like. I'll show you a couple of things that you can add if you do so choose, but at its base, this is what the statue will look like once it's been 100% fully completed. So the first alteration that I'm going to suggest is you can, if you like, give your horse some what I would call saddlebags, but essentially they're chests. I figured that we can kind of encroach into the leg area here a little bit, and we'll attach them right about here. So where the black terracotta is, for the base of the saddle, if you place a black concrete coming outwards and extend it backwards from, I'd say, about 5 or so blocks, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, join it, take the corners and extend them down each probably about the same, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and join them back and extend across and then up, just like this, so we can encroach into the leg a little bit. I want you to add a separative row of black concrete around the top as to kind of create the shape of the chest. Fill the chest in using either orange concrete, or you can very easily use some orange terracotta, or is it yellow terracotta is the closest material that you can actually get to the chest. And if you just add a little bit of a lock on it, kind of like this, or you can build it in, then it's just kind of like a cool thing to add. But again, maybe you'd want to kind of like just build it into the chest. Maybe that'd actually look a little bit better than what we've just done, or maybe make it even a little bit taller or something like that. But that's like just a cool little customization that you can add to your horse if you like, and that's, you know, feel free to do that or feel free not to. So another customization that you can make is you can change the position of the arm. So first of all, if we destroy the reins on this particular side, because you don't really need them if the arm isn't going to be holding them, and if we just work on getting rid of this arm here, we can work on positioning the arm in a bit more of a different and interesting way. So if we kind of like keep the shoulder in a little bit, which is what I would describe the cyan concrete area. I'd describe it as the shoulder, right? Like this. Well, if you want, you can then extend it forwards by, let's say, about 1, 2, 3, 4 rows. It's kind of like the standard. We'll start off with the lines of the shoulder, and we might even drop a row off of the bottom as well. So something like this, right? And then we can add a bit more arm in here as well. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, using the white terracotta. Just kind of like create a box shape of some sort, kind of like this. And then that way, Steve is kind of like poised for battle a little bit. As a matter of fact, what we could even do is we could raise up the arm. We could raise it out a little bit more. So maybe like 1, 2, 3, 4 again. And what we could do is as well, like, we could kind of just spare the horse's eyes, and we could curve the arm. That's another possibility as well. Although it's not out of the ordinary that we could just kind of like cover up a portion of the horse's face. It's not really a big deal because the horse on this side, of course, isn't the focal point. It's pretty much Steve. So you could make out like a long, elongated arm like this, and you could easily put an item in there. So like, let's say that you wanted to make a sword. I can't exactly remember exactly how to make a diamond sword off the top of my head, but you know, if you grab the materials that you'd need to make one, and you can kind of just like imagine how you would go about doing this. Like, you know, you have the blade like this, kind of just stuck out of the top of the hand, kind of like that. And then obviously you would also have to have the you would have to have what I would call the guard, like here. Is that even to the bottom? That might be a little bit better, I think. Yeah, so like you could have your sword, and then of course you'd have like you'd have something like poking out the bottom as well. You know, you can put any variety of item in the hand, like you could even put like a torch, you could add a sword. You guys get the idea. Like, you feel free to mold the statue in a way where you can like move the arm around, you can add like a sword and that sort of stuff. So let me spend a little bit more time on that and let me show you what that could look like. There we are, that's a little bit better. So I've given Steve a giant diamond sword, as you can see. His hand is positioned as though he's going to be charging, almost as if he's like ready to lead an army, but I think he looks pretty good. Also, feel free to give Steve a helmet as well. So this is going to be pretty much like the last little alteration that you might want to make. Like, if you like, use a mixture of like yellow terracotta or yellow concrete if you're looking for a gold helmet, or if you're using diamond, obviously you'd use the diamond colors. But you know, if you just, in between the eyes, you just place your darker color sticking out in between them, and you raise up the right block. You place a diagonal using your dark block still. You extend right by about 3, so you're hanging off the corner of the head. You extend the corner upwards and all the way around the top of the head. So we're looking to make it almost like kind of like a halo shape, really, is kind of like what we're dealing with here. And we want to extend it down around here. So we kind of want to copy the shape that we have on the opposite side. And we can then extend it across, kind of like this, and then it would join downwards. And of course, I'm thinking, I don't know why I'm using terracotta when I could be using gold, but like, you know, you would just like fill it in with a little bit of block of gold if you're like thinking about adding like a gold helmet, or perhaps like even a little bit of like, you know, add a little bit of shine in it in the corner. Like, you could really make it cool, like really customize your statue, you know, give it a top hat if you like, you know. I'm just suggesting things. I don't want you guys to think that you just have to have these statues in one particular way. Like, there's so many different things you can do with them. I'd highly recommend really making it your own. And that's pretty much that, everybody. I think we should probably end this tutorial here before we like turn Steve into the Ender Dragon, riding like a smaller version of the Ender Dragon. We should probably stop before we just customize this into an oblivion, but I really did just want to get across the fact, and I hope that I've done it, that you can really make these statues what you like. If you've enjoyed this tutorial, please do remember to hit that like button, as it really helps me and the channel out very much. If you're new around here, please do consider subscribing to the channel, clicking the little bell next to the subscription button. That'll ensure that you get all my stuff sent directly to your sub box. If you want to see a particular suggestion on the channel, I'd love to see some stuff that you guys actually want to see. Like, I'm building every single block in Minecraft on this channel as well, but if you want to see some more stuff like this, some weird statues and what have you, then I'd be more than happy to make them. As a matter of fact, the reason that I made this was due to a suggestion that I got on a live stream from a particular member of mine. So that is, and that should be on the screen right now as well. So if you do want to see something in particular, that's what you should do. Let me know. If you want to make anything else by me, check out the card system in the description below as well. I'll be leaving a link to the Building Every Block playlist. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. I'm going to jump off of the end of that diamond sword, I think, just to show everybody how much I really do appreciate you. Love you all very much. I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.